Hi everyone, how are you doing tonight? We're going to get right down to business tonight. There's going to be no more rambling in the beginning of these videos, not at the end of these videos. I'm going to get straight down to what we're discussing and absolutely no deviation from that whatsoever. I'm going to stay on a strict script of the information, and so I think everybody's going to be really, really happy about that. Who am I kidding? Yeah, you didn't think that was for real, right? Probably like 3% of you were like, oh yes, she listened to our comments. And the rest of you are like, what the heck is she doing? We're going to have to find a new channel. Okay, anyway, no, I'm not going to deviate from that because I've got to be me. And that's me. That's ramblings is in my name. It's there for a reason, and that's what I do. So, let's talk about some things, and I'm going to start with, I don't know how many of you are in the Facebook group, but I just have to address some like sheer lunacy that's going on with that group. And I'll tell you that I've had different groups for, different things over the years. I've even had like Amazon review groups that I thought were crazy, but I just cannot believe the level of moderation that this group has been needing, and these poor people that signed on to be moderators, I feel so sorry for them. I'm feeling like every time I'm hearing the messages come through, and it's just like one after the other, after the other, after the other. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're jumping ship now because this is crazy. So first off, it's probably because when I just said, let's do a Facebook group, I just thought it was going to be kind of like the live chat. People could just chat amongst themselves and everybody would be good. But there's been like some things going on. And then there's been some glitchy things where some people didn't get into the group. And so I sent messages to those people and one of them responded. But if you were denied to the group, just apply again, because it's a glitchy thing that happened. That was like 2 days ago. So I know I called one of the people back because we looked at it in the notes. So yeah, that was a glitchy thing. And then there was one or two posts that were removed by someone by accident. So yes, and just, try to look at the group rules and just be aware that everyone in there is not from the United States. So their spelling, their grammar, they might not understand a word. You have to understand that because they're coming from all over, which is just remarkable to me. People say, I'm here from Israel, I'm here from South Africa, I'm here. It's crazy. But yeah, we have to realize that everyone is not from the United States. And there are certain things like, that I say that people ask for clarification. Well, what does that mean? And I understand now. So, yeah, so it's something I have to be aware of, but definitely. And I know that, oh my goodness, Yaz is asking me something about comments not showing. Now, I didn't do anything with captions on here. And I have to go in there. Hopefully I'll do it by this time. But I don't know if I put captions on there, or are they just going to go transcribe? Because they'll never transcribe the way I speak. They'll have like crazy words going across. So I don't know. I have to figure out what that is. But I didn't turn anything off, so I can't figure out what it is. But I'm gonna go back in and look. So yeah, with the Facebook group, just just try to be aware. Let's try to keep it to true crime, pretty much. I mean, if you want to show a little knitting or something, but I mean, let's not bring politics in there or bring religion or whatever. Whenever you get into those types of topics, that's when craziness starts, right? Because it just is. So why don't we just, keep the topic on the topic? And the one thing that I did today, and I just want to make it clear, someone posted a link to that crazy podcast with the ex-girlfriend that I don't even believe is true, but where they're just bashing and bashing and bashing Shanann. Now, I wasn't upset about the person that brought it in because didn't even have a rule in the group not to do that. But the thing is, I don't tolerate any victim bashing at all. You guys know that are here, and I think that's one of the reasons you're on this channel, because we don't bash victims and we don't bash Shanann or her children or anything like that. And just, it's something I won't have there, and that's just not a different point of view, because what's out there is really sickening, and what's in those podcasts is really sickening. Now, I've told you about them, right? Yes, and I have nothing against discussing it. I just don't want the links there, because I don't want to promote them at all for what they're doing. I don't want to, it just sickens me. So I just don't want to talk about it. I mean, I don't want to bring a link in there. If you guys want to talk about it, and I've talked about it myself, like, did you hear that podcast and what they're saying? But I don't want to see links or videos for any of them that do anything like that. You can talk about anyone that does that, but I just don't want their link or video in there, because it's really hard for me to hear. Like I said, it was absolutely disgusting trying to get through some of those podcasts, and I did talk about them, but I said, I'm not going to promote them. What is out there? I know a lot of you are coming to me and you're saying there's more and more channels just bashing Shanann, and I saw this one channel last night, and it's a new channel that's popped up, and it does exactly that. That's all it does. And in this channel, in the comments, they said something like, and Chris is innocent, and the poor Watts family, the poor Watts family, the poor Watts family. And, these people, I don't know, they really need to see a doctor. They really need to see a doctor. Because, as I've said to you guys before, if that was even the case, how could this loving father that killed his wife because she was strangling his kids, because she strangled his kids to death, this loving father didn't even try to resuscitate his children, didn't even call 911, didn't call anyone, didn't tell anyone, and then hides the bodies, lies about it for days? Oh my gosh, you Chris Watts fans. Really, get to a doctor, get to a psychiatrist. You guys need real help. You need help so badly. I don't understand you guys. I really don't. I really don't. If you wanted to make that case for me, you would see a man that tried to resuscitate his children. You would see a man that called 911. You would see a man that didn't lie. He lied when he said Shanann did it. And if you guys are really that freaking clueless, I really feel scared for our world. But yeah, a lot of them are run by family members of his or friends of family members, and it's very obvious. It's sickening. It's absolutely sickening. And though you wonder, I don't know what is with these people, but yeah, I just don't want to see their links or their channels in the group. And like I said, you can talk about them, but I just don't want to see links to their channels. I don't want to see it. It's sickening. So yeah, there are channels out there and people out there that are just vile, beyond vile in their words. And I guess it's going back to now the Wattses are claiming that, yes, he didn't do this. And you know what they were saying? Well, wait till the civil trial. That was the thing. Wait till the civil trial. Really? You're going to vindicate your son? You're going to vindicate your friend? You're going to vindicate your brother in the civil trial? Well, then how come your brother didn't respond to it? Oh, I know. He's falling on the sword again. You know what? You guys, if he's innocent, you would have requested another trial. Yes, you would. 100%. He's in there. And even if you want it, they want to say, oh, because he said strangled, he didn't know they were smothered, and they said, well, they shouldn't have been. Even if he had his accomplice, which many of us think he had an accomplice, he would have been in on that plan, okay? He definitely wasn't in on anything with Shanann to kill his children, and she would have never done that to his children. So it's just disgusting what you're doing to this woman. It's disgusting they're even attacking the little kids now. It's absolutely disgusting. They're discrediting whether she even had the illnesses she did, whether they're saying she had Munchausen's by proxy. It's really sickening. It's absolutely sickening. I can't imagine what they're putting this family through, and if they even think that they're, oh my gosh, I don't, people do that and just can go on like, just can sleep at night like babies. But yeah, it's sickening and it's revolting. So yeah, that whole thing, I just don't want to see their freaking links in there, because those podcasters, the ones that cackle like crazy while they're saying like the most horrific things. She sounds like a lovesick teenager, and she's, a middle-aged woman or beyond, and she sounds like this little groupie. It's really sickening. But yeah, it's sickening. And I know a few of you have said you went to read the Sister Jamie's comments in the, what group was that? The Web Sleuth group. And you see exactly, if you look at her words, they are Cindy's words coming out entirely, okay? The skater boy, all those comments. And it's just nothing but hate. And if they wanted sympathy, like I said before, if they wanted sympathy, if they wanted people to be sympathetic to them, they wouldn't be doing this, okay? They would accept what they need to accept, and even if they were better off saying nothing than the slander that they're putting out there. And now I'd love to see an interview with Cindy and Ronnie Watts. I really would. I'd love to hear what they're really thinking now, because someone was saying, oh, didn't you hear they apologized? Where did they apologize? You're telling me what the lawyer read at the victim's statement, what the lawyer read was an apology? Oh, I didn't hear that as an apology. And why couldn't she read it? Because she could read her comment, and I think they used that victim's impact statement to serve their own agenda, okay? Because when she started talking, it was much less about poor Bella and Cece and Nico, but it was more about her son, okay? And him being a victim, okay? He's not the victim. I'm sorry, he's not the victim. He made their 4 victims, okay, by his hands. So, you know what? You want to talk to me, Cindy and Ronnie Watts? Talk to me. I'd love to talk to you. Why don't you come on out and say what you're thinking? Because if you're all back to that he didn't do this and he got the raw end of the stick and he's some big hero that fell on the sword, then why didn't he go to the civil suit? Why did he take a freaking plea deal? And don't tell me, oh, because he'd be in jail forever. Look at Casey Anthony. Okay? Look, why? Why didn't he at least, if he was innocent, why didn't he do it? He didn't do it because he had to protect his mistress and because he's guilty. That's why. That's why he didn't do it. And that's why he didn't respond to this civil suit. So cut the crap. And if you want people to have sympathy for you, you should come out with a public apology. Okay? A real one. And stop all this crap that you're doing behind the scenes, slandering your murdered daughter-in-law and your murdered grandchildren. And now there's coming out with a new one that Nico wasn't even his baby. That's the one, we heard that from the mistress's mouth and then went back and forth. And now, that's the thing. That's why he didn't want to go to the ultrasound with her, because they don't want to say, oh, he was not a good or supportive father. He was not. No, it was because the baby wasn't his and she was cheating on him. That's the new one you'll hear going around. I've gotten comments like that, and I see it in these comments on these crazy channels and everything. So yeah, it gets me fired up, and that's why I don't want to see their crap and their filth in that Facebook group. I don't want to see it, and just absolutely no, anybody, is going to bash Shanann or those kids or her family or any other victim of any crime, you're gone. Because it's not something I'm going to put up with. It's enough. These people are going through enough, and then to have that. And like I said, if they wanted sympathy from people, if they wanted people, to feel sorry for them, they wouldn't be slandering this woman continuously, and getting even more prolific at it. Just keeps going. So yeah, it's sickening. I'm sorry. You got the rant from me today on that, because it's sickening. It actually makes me sick. It actually makes me sick. And I can't imagine what it does to her family. And I know, hopefully they're not looking at it, but I can't even imagine, it's just, they were denied this whole trial because of this guy's plea, Anyway, I want to show you along those lines. I'll call her the cackler, because she's a cackler in her podcast. All she does is cackle like a lunatic and drink her mixed drinks or whatever the heck she's drinking, her adult beverages with her ice and her whiskeys. Yeah, that's a good thing. Get on there, crazy enough, get on there, get some alcohol and get on your podcast. Okay. So this woman from this podcast wrote this letter to the judge on Cindy's behalf. I told you about the letter before, but I'm pretty sure I never read it to you guys. Okay? So let's take a look at this. She wrote this on November 12th. Judge Kopkow, I am writing to you on the behalf of Cindy Watts, the mother of Christopher Watts. Since the time of Chris's arrest, his entire family has been denied contact with him. They attempted to contact him by phone, by email, and in person, and were denied by the public defender's office each time. The night before the hearing, they were allowed to visit for 30 minutes each, father, mother, and sister, which is the first contact they've had since arrest. Since arrest. His arrest. You need the word his there. I'm just laughing because this lady calls herself a wordsmith on the pod, and how much she loves words and language. She's got an error here in her letter because for the wordsmith. Okay. During the meeting, his mother attempted to ask him if this was what he really wanted, in parentheses, a plea deal, and was told, "Do not ask him that, or we will shut this shit down now," by the attorney present. They have felt threatened and bullied when all they want to do is see their son and make sure this is his plea deal, since that is not what his original confession was. They're upset and they've been bullied? The Ruzeks have been bullied. The Ruzeks family is being slandered. They would love to see their daughter and granddaughters, but they're not going to have that chance while they're on this earth, unlike you, Cindy and Ronnie. Okay? In case we've forgotten Cindy and Ronnie, your son decided to kill his family. Instead of being a man and walking away if he couldn't, he decided to be a monster and kill his family. So you have a lot of nerve sitting here playing a victim now about all of this, and now, if this is what he really wanted, that you've been bullied and you've been threatened. It's amazing. It's amazing. You slandered her before you even knew what happened. Well, maybe you already knew what happened. Maybe you had your pressure and everything that you put on that, because you were gloating. You were gloating when you said that he was going to get his separation and that he finally saw the lights, and you were gloating to his friend. You were gloating in that interview. You were gloating. Didn't go to their wedding, so yeah. Why would you ever change? Okay, so remember, she said that she wasn't worried at all when she was missing with her granddaughters. She wasn't even worried that she was missing with her granddaughters. Not at all. She was just punishing Christopher. And even the next day, I wasn't worried at all. She was just trying to teach him a good lesson. Yeah, that's a brilliant deduction, Cindy. A brilliant deduction. You weren't even worried about your granddaughters. You notice that none of them, that's another thing. You notice that none of them were calling. If you look at the call logs, Sandra Rusek was calling the police. They were like, Sandra Rusek is calling again. She's called back again. She's called back again. You don't see anything on those police logs with Cindy and Ronnie Watts calling at all, or Jamie. I could tell you that if, and I don't have grandchildren, but I could tell you about my children, and if I had grandchildren, and if they were missing, I'd be calling the police station. Did you hear anything? What's going on? Did you, even if I was a pest, like, I'm sure Sandy called multiple times according to those logs. She called back again. It says she called multiple times. That's what a grandparent does. Where's my daughter? Where's my grandkids? What's going on? Are you doing it? Are you doing this? Yes, and trying to get through. She was, hounding Nicole too. Obviously, find this. Of course, that's what a frenzied mother is going to do. A frenzied parent. Do we see anything of that with Cindy and Ronnie Watts? Do we see anything of it? Do we even see one call where it says Cindy, Jamie, or Ron Watts was calling the Frederick Police Department, asking if they found, even if they hated Shanann, even if they wanted Shanann dead, right? Even if they didn't care at all. Those are their grandchildren. Those are their nieces. Did they even call one time? Look at the logs yourself. Look at the logs yourself. Did you see anything when, before Ron knew and he was being interviewed, that he was asking, like, well, what's being done? Do you know where they are? Do you know where they could be? Where do you have search teams out here? You have search teams out there? No. Does anybody find that funny? It's the same reason I think Mr. Christopher wasn't worried, because, as we said, any parent, any grandparent that doesn't know where his kids are is going to be just a wreck sitting in that room. You'd be like, look, I don't know, I want to help you guys, but how many, well, I want to get out there, we need search parties, I want to get out there. You'd be wanting, he never even asked. Did you hear anything? Did you have any leads? Did anybody find anything? Are there any clues? Any of the He didn't even ask, because he knew where his kids were. And do you find it weird that Cindy and Ronnie Watts were not calling around, asking, doing anything like that? Okay, so yeah. The family feels that Chris has been coerced into making this confession. He has been isolated the entire 3 months and had contact with no one except the attorneys and his jailers. What do you think? He's on like a carnival cruise? He killed his family. They're lucky. They're lucky they can talk to him through a screen. The family feels he has been told by the public defender that he has no other options than to take this plea and has therefore accepted his fate. You know what? If you're so upset with the public defender's office, if you're so upset with it, Ronnie and Cindy, why didn't you sell everything? If you believe he's innocent, with your whole heart, you believe he's innocent, why didn't you get him the defense dream team? Could it be that because you know he's not innocent? Could it be because you would sell everything and he would be found guilty anyway? Then where would you be, right? Because he wouldn't even be out helping you earn back the money. So you sit here and you complain about the public defender, but I don't see that you did anything to get him this defense team. That says a lot. I mean, in this day and age of GoFundMe pages, right? Did they even start a GoFundMe page for his defense? With all of those fangirls and everything, they should have been able to raise something, right? However, they don't actually know the facts since they're not allowed to speak to Chris. Since the November 6th hearing, the family has called the public defender's office numerous times, and they have been rerouted each time to a social worker. So they can call the public defender's office, right? They can call the public defender's office. They didn't call the Frederick Police Department. And Jamie, this sister that I don't think she ever was out to Colorado, ever in the 7-8 years that her brother lived there. You know, but she's such an expert on their relationship when you listen to her comments in that group. And real expert, the same way, you know, the parents are that saw them twice a year. And they didn't even see them, I mean, full, because a lot of times they came to babysit the kids. So Chris and Shanann were gone, and they probably saw each other 2 days. And that's the social worker. I guess that's probably the social worker that Cindy quotes as, "Oh, that marriage should have ended years ago." In the opinion of Mr. Watts' family, again, there's a punctuation error, but she's a wordsmith. It is the opinion of Mr. Watts' family. She has no possessive on that, but she's a wordsmith. I heard she's also a psychologist, probably in her own imagination. Because if it's anything like how she's a wordsmith, somebody said she's a fake psychologist. I don't know what they said, something that she pretends she's something else. Who knows what she is? I don't think a wordsmith is it. It is the opinion of Mr. Watts' family that he has been coerced, has been denied his constitutional rights, and more, all in an attempt to quickly close this case. Poor Chris. Poor Chris. Poor Chris. They want to have a new attorney speak to Chris on their behalf to determine if this is a true confession or one that is based on inhumane treatment at the hands of the Public Defender's Office of Weld County. Wow, there's inhumane treatment at the hands of the Public Defender's Office. You know who had inhumane treatment? Cindy and Ronnie Watts and Jamie Watts. You know who had inhumane treatment at someone's hands? Shanann Watts, Bella Watts, Celeste Watts, and Nico Watts. They had inhumane treatment at someone's hands, your brother's hands, and if he had an accomplice, their hands, from a plan that your brother was part of. They had inhumane treatment at your brother and your son's hands when he stuffed his daughters down an oil well. Shanann and Nico had inhumane treatment at the hands of your son and your brother when he strangled the life out of her and her unborn baby and left them in a shallow grave. Shanann, Bella, Cece, and Nico, they had inhumane treatment that resulted in their death. Your son perpetrated this, okay? He perpetrated this, and then he was deceptive, and he was deceptive before this, okay? So stop it with this, because it's ridiculous. He has inhumane treatment. Why is he there? Ask yourself why he's there. And in their warped mind, they'll say, oh, because he was in an abusive marriage and he couldn't get out of it. And oh, poor Chris, he couldn't get out of it and he didn't know what to do. Oh, really? Do you realize what kind of imbeciles you sound like saying that? He was in an abusive marriage and couldn't stand up to get out of it. But then you're saying he doesn't have the courage to walk out and get a divorce, but he can kill his family and then dispose of the bodies? And then you want to say he didn't kill his kids, but he doesn't call 911, he doesn't resuscitate them, he throws them in an oil well? Do you people even... I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know about you guys. It's scary. It is downright scary that you're even trying to believe this, and worse yet, that you have people that believe this. He's in such an abusive marriage. It's insane. We've gotten to the inhumane treatment at the hands of the Public Defender's Office of Weld County. If they had not been denied access to Chris, then they would not be forced to contact you for equal justice for their son. Equal justice for their son? What's the equal there? Who else is being charged with this right now? Are you trying to compare it to Shanann, who's the victim? So, yes, in their warped minds, Shanann's the victim, but their warped minds, she killed the kids. So how come she's not being treated as unfairly as Chris is? They just want equal justice. Today, Mrs. Watts has left 2 voicemails with your office, which is closed for the holiday. She would like to speak with you about this matter and to find out why their family is being denied access to Chris and to make sure he is receiving fair treatment under our Constitution. Wow. Yep, we got to make sure he's receiving his fair treatment there. He wouldn't have to worry about this if he just manned up, right? If he hadn't been deceptive and the whole time hadn't been sneaking around with some other woman behind his family's back, if he hadn't been in this whole charade, right? If he had just come right out and said he wanted a divorce and moved on. But no. He didn't want to be stuck. He cared for his mistress, that she would have her first, and she wouldn't have her first like this. Because they're both lunatics, and they don't realize that even if you murder someone, they still existed. And if he had another daughter with you, NK, it wouldn't be his first daughter. It never would be. Do you realize that? And we know in your text, NK, that you put there that you felt you would always be second to his children. And we know how much you wanted to have your firsts. And we know in the card he wrote to you, he had to stroke you and tell you that you have your firsts with him. Both. There's one imbecile after another right here. It's crazy. Her number is, she will accept your call at any time today and is aware I have reached out to you. Thank you for your time. Okay, and then here's the court's response to that letter. Okay. District Court of Weld County, Colorado. The people of the state of Colorado, plaintiff versus Christopher Lee Watts, defendant. And it says, order regarding email letter received by court C-23. On November 12, 2018, the court received an email from K. Almond on behalf of the defendant's mother. Among other things, the email letter requested that the undersigned judicial officer communicate with Mrs. Watts. This court is prohibited from having any ex parte communications with any third party or make any statements about this case outside of the courtroom. Therefore, the request is respectfully denied. Marcello A. Kopkow, District Court Judge. And her name is right there on a public document. It's a big thing now. People, oh, you're doxing somebody, you're doxing somebody. No, it's not doxing somebody on a public document that's out there. It's So I'm just going to head those comments off. Yep, it's right there. Anyway, anybody can see it. Anybody that's listening to this video, anybody that's in the world can go there and see it, because all of the court documents are on the court site. So, what do we think of this? Okay, this is just ludicrous, but yeah, I'd love to interview them and say, well, how come then he didn't respond to the wrongful death case? You could have shown everybody this in civil court. Why? I don't know. Because they all probably say, oh, you're going to see all the evidence come out, all these people, and you're going to see all the evidence come out when it goes to civil, when it goes to the civil case. You're going to see all that evidence come out, and you're all going to see it. Yeah. So then they have their defense, well, you know why? Didn't want to put his family through that. He knew he'd be in jail for the rest of his life. Yeah, well, why did he put them in an oil well if he didn't do that? Why? Why did he cover it up if he didn't do that? It's called fantasy world. Really? Maybe you should have just been quiet about it. If you're tired of being threatened and bullied, maybe not come out and slander 4 great people that were killed at the hands of your son and her family. Maybe if you had come forward with compassion, you wouldn't be in this spot, okay? Maybe if you had issued a real apology and truly be repentant for what you did here, you wouldn't be feeling bullied or threatened. But you're not. None of you are, okay? You're still going on with all of this stuff, all of this hate, day after day after day. Hate. It's sickening. It's really, really sickening. And then trying to say, oh, well, don't you remember that what apology? Read by a lawyer? That what she read? You call that an apology? I don't know. So yeah, what do you guys think? I mean, these groups are just disgusting. I know some of you have said, you've reported them, you've reported things. But yeah, I mean, they feel better by, it's just been something from the get-go. They never liked her. They never liked Shanann. They didn't go to the wedding. They showed their true colors from the get-go. They could not be big enough to put their feelings aside. They couldn't be big enough to support the woman that their son chose to marry. Instead, they decided to make things a living hell. They didn't go to the wedding. I mean, I've heard about families where there's like little tiffs and tats before the wedding, but not that the parents don't go to the wedding. That is really... And she's proud of it. You're proud of it. Most people would be ashamed of that. But no, she thinks it's a feather in her cap because she's like, you see, I was right about her. And he was seeing the light. You see that? He saw the light. She had to call Mark. He saw the light. He saw the light. Yeah, he saw the light. He saw the light. Sure. And, yeah, it's really gross. But, okay, so now, what else did I want to say about that? Oh, yes, for new cases, I am looking up stuff on the Golden State Killer. I'm preparing some stuff on that. And then there was something on 2020 last night for 2 hours on BTK. And what else? Of course, Darlie, we have to get on that. I've got stuff going on with that. I told you there's that pending interview. I have to see what's going on there. And I ordered all my stuff, and it's going to be here between Monday and Tuesday. And my son tells me that he'll do it Tuesday. I'm just hoping that UPS delivers it earlier in the day because he's got to work Tuesday night. Otherwise, it'll have to be Wednesday. But I want to get that up and running because I think it will be much easier. That's what I'm trying to figure out, how to do all the things I have to do, because I've got to get 3 blog posts up now for my blog of things that I have to do, and I have to get this video up, and then I want to get that other research done, and I've got kids and all of this stuff, and None of you are coming over here and cleaning and organizing. You're all telling me you're wearing your earbuds, but nobody's yet said they'll come here and clean and organize while I'm doing the video, so that's not going to help me. Oh, a very funny thing I'm thinking of, because of how many people comment about the eyeliner, right? I said, for the merch, anybody know where I can get pens that look like eyeliners? Wouldn't that be great if I could get a pen that looked like eyeliner? And then we could have something written on it on the outside? I don't know. I don't know if they make pens that look like eyeliners. That would be fun. And what else? And let me see if I can answer any questions, because, oh, that's what I want to say. Please, please, please. There's so many comments coming in. And I know a lot of you say don't worry about it. And I want you to know that I can't even be in that Facebook group because it takes a lot of time. Like, I can look at certain things, but that's more for you guys to discuss things. And then, you know, maybe if you come across a case or something, you know, I'll see it. But I just can't be in there as much as I would like to be, because then I'll never get anything else done. I'll never get any research done for future videos. I'll never get anything done as far as setting up the system and the website and the emails so that I can get that email out of the Mommy Ramblings account and onto the other domain that I bought for the true crime. So yeah, I have to get that going. I want to get just a lot of things going with this, and so I really have to devote that, because that, you know how that can suck your time, just suck it right out. And I try to get to the comments, because I do appreciate the comments, but just know that sometimes, I know probably some of you see it, I give you a heart, you know, like I like the comment after it's been there for a week, some 2 weeks, you know, I get to them as when I can. It's just there's so many coming in, and that's why I want to try to gather up questions that are the same and then talk about them at the end of every video. So here I had someone ask me about destroying evidence, and they're getting that from the plea deal. And what that means, from what I can gather, it's not the evidence that you're thinking of. It's stuff that they took from Chris when he was arrested, because he's in there for life. He's not getting out. So they were going to turn some stuff over to Ronnie Watts. And that happens, I believe, to be like his clothing and his wallet and, you know, his things like that, his phone when they're done with it. That kind of evidence. That's what's going to be turned over to Ronnie Watts. What else did I want to talk about? And then somebody cleared up the toilet issue. They said that when you're on suicide watch, that they turn the water off for the toilets, and they give them only a few pieces of toilet paper at a time. Because apparently they can either clog toilets or something to get out of there, or somebody said they could make a new set. I don't know how they could make a new set of toilet paper. But those are the comments I got there. And what other questions? Because there's questions about where's the discovery. I have put those links in. I also have put the discovery links in some of the other true crime videos on the Watts case, so you could check that out. There are what's the other thing? Let me see what other questions that keep coming up. Please, no more shadows questions. I honestly, I don't see it. I see the shadow under the car. I'm going to say it again. I see the shadow going under the car. I see a quick back and forth motion. But other than that, I can't tell you about the child. Now, you get that doctored up photo. I don't know what they did to that photo, how many processes, all of that. But yeah, well, if I see the doctored photo, yeah, I can see the ponytail and that, but what was that? Wasn't that a lot of lights from the tree? And you know, how much, you know, we don't want to get out there with tinfoil hat stuff. Right? I mean, I don't want to. I'm not a conspiracy person like that at all. So yeah, I'm telling you what I see on that, and I think I've answered that a lot of times. So I really, you don't know, every video I get like 15, 20, 25 questions on that about the shadows. But I don't know, and I don't have anything against the armchair guy. I really don't. I don't know. I don't even know him. I've looked at the video. That's what I've done, and I know he's in the UK, and that's about the extent of it. And I don't have anything against him. You know, if he can find something, great. You know, send it in and let's see what happens. But you're asking me, you know, I can't see it, but that doesn't make it true or not true. Whatever, you know, if it's there, it'll be there. send it in and see what happens. That's all I can say. Oh, I think someone asked why was Shanann's clothes in this like little locker thing. That was after the autopsy. They had put the clothing in these little air, well, they kind of air dried it. I forget what it's like a little locker, but it's open, and so that they're going to get air, and they were hung up, and it was her shirt and her bra and her panties that were there. And that's all for, in preparation for the trial, of course. Those pictures were taken and all of that. Trial that didn't happen. But that's what that was for, and that's why you're seeing that. Those are evidence pictures, so you're seeing that. People still ask me, where's their little dog Dieter? He's with Frankie Jr., Shanann's brother. Okay, so Dieter's there. What other questions do I get asked like a million times that I can answer right here? I know those of you who have submitted cases to me, yes, and I am putting them in a file, and I am looking at them, so I will look at those. And what else? I'm trying to think. There's so many. Most of those are like a lot of the shadow pictures come at me, or the newest one where that looks like a Sims kind of character to me. Oh, and I've said it again. I'll say it again. NK is not in the witness protection program. Just so you know, father's not an attorney. And let's see. Maybe if I keep saying it enough times. The girl's hair wasn't cut off. I've addressed that rumor, right? Hair was found on the hatch going in because her hair got caught on it, Bella's hair. And then the hair. If you read the autopsy, they had hair on their heads. It wasn't shaved or cut off or anything like that. That was just a rumor that's out there. Let's see. But no, that's about it. And yeah, I think that's about it for tonight. And just letting you know, because I do feel bad when you guys comment or you send emails, and I try to get your emails when I can too. It's just that it's so time consuming, and so it takes me time to get to it because it is so much time. But I'm trying to, and that's why I think it's going to be better once we get the setup. If we go live even once a week, or I don't know, twice a week, we'll see. With questions about cases. We could do a case, I'm not saying like question and answer about me or whatever, because I'm not that interesting. But if we did a question and answer about cases, and I think that might help me out a lot, because then you guys could ask them, either you could call in or you could submit them in comments, so we can work that out. And then I can just spend 2 hours talking with you about cases and answering questions. That will be a lot better. I think that'll be a lot easier. And that's all I'm trying to figure out, how to do this so that you guys are getting what you want out of the channel. You're getting questions answered. You're getting, me to look at something. You're getting the kind of content you want. And I'm just trying to navigate that. And I also want you to have a part of it. So because a lot of you have a lot of interesting points of view. A lot of you think like me, because I'll always say, oh my gosh, I was thinking that, or you'll say something before in the comments before I mention it in a video. So yeah, there's a lot of like-minded people, and it's great because I think if we maybe have that call-in show where we have 3 or 4 people on talking, calling in, doing stuff like that. So that's kind of where I'm thinking, and I think it'll make things easier for me. And then we could also have guests, like those of you that want to come on. I know some people have said to me, it's either a missing person that's close to you or somewhere, maybe have you come on and talk about what that case is like, you know what I mean? So let me get all of that stuff set up, and then I think it's going to be easier for all of us. And just have patience as I'm navigating this, because this channel has grown very quickly, from what it was, and the true crime part. That's why I said, I don't know what is going on in that Facebook group, but just try to always think of like what another person might be going through, and maybe they're from, another country where they're taking something you wrote differently. Just try to handle it, I don't know, just try to, if we can all be kind and stuff and try to help, because I don't know, it's getting a little crazy. My daughter, I know it did, because I said to my husband this morning, I said, Facebook group is out of control. It is out of control. I'm like, I don't even want to log into Facebook because all you hear is that little signal that you've got a message. I mean, it's just ping, ping, ping. And it just, my stress, my like anxiety gets so high. And then my daughter calls me and she goes, what in the name is happening with your Facebook group? What the heck in there? That's a shite show. And I'm like, yeah, you noticed it? Mm-hmm, okay. So I'm like, I don't know, but I'm just, I don't know. So it's just, it's gone crazy. So, and then sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe I created a monster with that group, but I thought everybody would just like to talk about true crime in there, but I don't know what is going on. It's going into like nightmarish soon. So yeah, just know that I can't check in there very often. And I know a lot of people have been confused going to the page. There's a Facebook page with True Crime with Mommy Ramblings, and there's a Facebook group. The group is True Crime Chat with Mommy Ramblings group. Okay, it's a group. If you put it in the Facebook search bar, you'll find the group. The other one is the page, True Crime Chat with Mommy Ramblings. That's a Facebook page. That is visible to everyone. That's just like the page, okay? But the group is something else. The group is private, and then you just request to join. And now I think they might have put some questions in there just to make sure that you're there for the true crime. So you answer those questions and they let you in the door. Anyway, that is it that I have for you guys. I'm going to do some more research on those other cases, and I've got to get those blog posts written, and I want to get this up. So I will talk to you hopefully in the live chat. I'll be talking to you now tonight because I'd like to do that. And everybody have a really good one. Have a great weekend, and I will talk to you shortly. Thank you for all of your support. Thank you for everything that you've given to this channel to make it, just really be a great community here. All right? Take care now. Bye-bye.